Hello, quiz guzzlers, and welcome to the Ordinary Quiz. I'll be your typically high-energy host, your king of questions, the emperor of the ephemeral, the Führer of trivia, Adolf Quizler. Let's get straight into the first question. What was HQ Trivia? Was it A cultural phenomenon that promised a new age in interactive broadcast? Was it B, a smartphone application that resurrected appointment TV? Or was it C, a loss-making dumpster fire failure propelled into the public eye by a neat gimmick? Or was it D, all of the above? Let's find out. It's 2017 and a new app is captivating a small but overly enthusiastic audience.
Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god!
But these hysterical trivia tantrums were understandable, because HQ wasn't like the other apps. It didn't take your money, it gave you some. Anyone who correctly answered every question in one of the app's twice daily broadcasts would win a share of a not insubstantial jackpot. And because of the tense, time-sensitive way that the questions were posed, even winning a small amount of money was enough to make people positively quiz their pants. Like this woman who won a cool $11 dues. But it wasn't all about the money.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "It's time for HQ, baby!"
The game also had a charismatic and sharply dressed host named Scott Rogowski, and he is undeniably the smug face of the app. He quickly amasses a stadium worth of simps who call him their Quiz Daddy.
And the audience is growing,
Audience
too.
is growing. We had our record-breaking game Sunday night, 240,000 players, HQties I call them, playing around the world for an $8,000 jackpot.
He's wildly popular and a skilled improviser, which is lucky because the app's broadcast broke down more often than a middle-aged divorcee. Behind the glitches and the gimmicks, though, were HQ's founders, Russ Yusupov and Colin Kroll, who were also responsible for creating Vine.
We thought, hey, let's combine some of our favorite elements of mobile gaming, live video, and TV production, mash them together and create an experience that people, frankly, have never had before.
They'd sold Vine to Twitter for $30 million, but when everyone's favorite billionaire vagrant ran the service into the ground, Russ wasn't shy about making his regrets public. Cue the sound of the world's smallest diamond-encrusted violin. But with HQ Trivia, Russ and Colin were back at it again at the Krispy Kreme.
Back at it again at Krispy Kreme.
But much like this iconic moment of donut-adjacent idiocy, HQ Trivia was viral, ambitious, and doomed to end in disaster. For the first few months, HQ Trivia gradually increased its user base. But then in November 2017, things went nuclear. The Daily Beast had Russ on record saying that he was thinking of firing Quiz Daddy because he had spoken to the press without his permission. In reaction, Scott's big simping army took to Twitter, and the hashtag #FreeScott was soon trending all across North America. Suddenly, everyone and their mum was downloading HQ Trivia to see if Scott was still trapped in their phones. He was. The truth was that Scott was never in any actual danger. He was integral to the app's success, thanks in large part to this manufactured drama. And by January 2018, HQ Trivia was the 6th most downloaded app in the App Store. Before HQ, Scott had been best known for these extremely tame subway prank-type stunts where he was reading inappropriate books. Now he was the star of a new kind of broadcast, and he was often its saving grace. By the end of 2017, the app would frequently glitch out or freeze or just stop working altogether, straining under the weight of its rapidly growing user base. On New Year's Eve, the entire game stopped working, but Scott managed to improv his way through the broadcast, keeping 500,000 people watching, even though the questions weren't appearing on screen.
Come on, don't be shy. Get out here. Get out of here. Let me see you spin.
Spin, spin, spin!
More players also meant there had to be bigger prizes, as there would inevitably be more winners who would share the jackpot. People might go crazy for $11, but no one was blowing their beans over 11 cents. As a result, the jackpots spiraled upwards.
We have our winner, baby! We found the one! There could only be one, and we found the one! $75,000! Jesus Christ, superstar, that's a lot of money.
This led many to wonder how the app could possibly be making any money. And it might not surprise you to know, it wasn't. Apparently, Russ had read his business studies textbook backwards. You see, traditionally, in capitalism, businesses make money by taking money from their customers, not by handing it out. And HQ Trivia was largely attracting its audience through the universal appeal of free money. At some point, they were gonna actually have to make that cash back. But thanks to $15 million worth of venture capital funding, that wouldn't have to be anytime soon. Because asking their customers for cash would undercut the app's entire concept, the only thing they could sell was access to their user base's eyeballs. Sneaker brand and sweatshop operator Nike ponied up $100,000 for a special episode, and also made these pretty fresh HQ foot containers. And the prize money for the Nike game was shared between just 4 winners. Warner Brothers also slid HQ $3 million and even let them borrow one of their most recognizable flesh puppets.
Wow, 16,076, it's crazy!
And 2 million people tuned in to smell what The Rock was shilling. Crazy. Afterwards, Warner Brothers provided another $250,000 prize to promote the CGI Stinkfest Ready Player One. By February 2018, the app was regularly bringing in over 2 million viewers, without the addition of any Hollywood action goon. Also in April, Bobby De Niro was a guest, and he definitely understood what was going on.
You don't say ta-ra because nobody says ta-ra. You're not a magician. If you're a pro, you say, that's a wrap. Then you know what happens? You eat all the free food on the set because that's what it is. So see you at the wrap party.
Understandably, the founders of HQ saw nothing but wins in their future. It was such a phenomenon that multiple copycat, virtually shot trivia games started to emerge from the woodwork. Facebook launched their own HQ knockoff called Confetti, and it was wank. Apparently filmed in a dingy nightclub bathroom, it emits the energy of a Saturday morning kids show presented by middle-aged alcoholics. HQ created their own copycats abroad too, broadcasting in Australia, Germany, and here in the UK with a typically lower energy host with the most British name of all time.
So, anyway, I'm Derek Livingston, happy to be your host this Saturday night.
With their expansion abroad, Russ and co were confident that HQ was here to stay. He bought a gigantic bottle of champagne that he proudly displayed in the HQ office, only to be opened when the broadcast first reached 3 million simultaneous viewers. But that would never happen. Even at the peak of its popularity, HQ suffered from a lot of hiccups. The glitches were still common, and they would often prevent winners from claiming the cash that they believed they were entitled to after spending 15 minutes playing a toilet time app. HQ were also forced to delay payments for up to 3 or 4 weeks so they could sift through all the bots that had attempted to win the game fraudulently. Even people who had won legitimately couldn't access their funds until they'd won over $20. Including that woman who'd had the viral victory seizure. As she explained to this daytime TV demon.
A lot of the comments were saying, girl, you don't even know, you can't get that money. Because you actually can't cash out of HQ until you have $20, which I don't have. So...
Any decently sized Discord server could also crowdsource the questions and win that way. Shout out my Discord boys. As the audience grew, the game got harder and less interesting to win. Like an overplayed song on the radio or a communal fleshlight, the game was being spoilt by its overuse. As 2018 trundled on, HQ's viewership stalled and then plummeted. By the end of the year, it looked like the novelty was wearing off. But Russ and Colin believed that HQ could bounce back, but the company was in need of a shake-up. Many there disapproved of Russ's erratic leadership, so Colin took over as primary CEO. From there, HQ began experimenting with brave, new, exciting formats, like HQ Words, a Wheel of Fortune / Hangman ripoff hosted by Anna Roisman, who seemed to be aware that HQ's finances were getting a little dicey.
You know, you must have overdrawn the debit card today because you're eliminated on the game.
They also hired another self-styled comedian called Matt Richards to be the Trivia Games secondary host. And he was fine. He was fine. He was all right.
Question 12! Question 12! Ha! Question 12! Yo, y'all want to see something funny?
Without millions of viewers, though, the app ceased to be attractive to big-name sponsors, and the celebrity guests were replaced by worn-out celebrity impressions.
Question 15! Lal, come on, do it! Follow me! Hurry, the Earth is ending! It's the last question! Final round!
It looked like the app was sinking as quickly as it took off. And then, tragedy struck.
Hello, HQties. Scott here. I was looking forward to being back on air with all of you tonight, but not under these circumstances. It is with a heavy heart that I must share some tragic news that has befallen the HQ family. Our friend and founder, Colin Kroll, passed away unexpectedly early this morning at the age of 34.
In December 2018, Colin Kroll died of an accidental overdose of cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl, aka double heroin. It was a tragic loss of a genuinely talented and well-liked developer. His death devastated the company, especially because he had only taken over as CEO 3 months before. Russ returned to his original role and doubled down on the experimental formats. Like HQ After Dark, bonus host Matt Richards suggested a change to the original show's format. Well, actually, it was basically exactly the same, except with the addition of naughty no-no words.
What is bothering you?
Please just stop. Start the game. Gummy bear
Gummy
for life.
bear.
Suck my ass.
There were also 2 hosts, which added some uncomfortable sexual tension to the proceedings, and also just made the whole thing look awkward as they tried to squeeze 2 bodies into the vertical frame. And this became especially difficult when the hosts decided to show up to their job shit-faced drunk.
Here, Jazz is my life.
Oh,
Jazz is my life.
Vanessa Hudgens in the Princess Switch switched again.
Damn.
I like it. I like shopping.
It's your turn, right?
Oh, I also bought a comforter for my bed. Okay, yeah, it's my turn.
Or in the case of this special Doug Benson episode, stoned out of their gourds.
But I am DB.
You are DB.
Those are my initials.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I was delayed as fuck. I was like, what? I was like, nice to meet you, DB.
Yeah.
David Blaine.
These edgy, intoxicated shenanigans were pretty cringe, but also, it was kind of a good idea. Getting your hosts loaded is something you can't do in legacy media like TV and radio, for good reason.
I'm gonna do this one?
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2.
But still, they were taking advantage of their format, and I think that should be applauded. In the same way that you might applaud a drunk person at St. Patrick's Day for stealing a police horse. Sadly though, all this wasn't enough to bring HQ's original audience back. By July 4th, 2019, downloads of the app were down 92% from what they were a year before, and they were forced to fire a 5th of their staff. For his part, Russ doubled down, believing the key to resurrecting his tired, gimmicky app was by test driving several other gimmicks. There was HQ Tunes, a musical trivia and listening game where the music only worked for half the people playing. Not ideal. Later on, they also beta tested an idea called HQ Drop, a spectacularly misjudged QVC clone that just seemed like an excuse to sell off stuff from the HQ office.
For the cozy holiday season, a beautiful HQ pillow. Let's roll it.
This idea never left beta testing, presumably because future episodes would have forced them to sell off office chairs, ergonomic keyboards, and soiled coffee filters. Then there was HQX. This one was a head scratcher. It was essentially a photo assignment game where you had a very short time limit to take a photo that matched the host's prompt. After you'd done that, you were able to Tinder swipe through everyone else's submissions, and then that would decide the winner, I think? To be honest, it wasn't clear.
I want to see your Baby Yoda impression. Swipe to the right, swipe to the left. Great pictures I'm seeing. Very close up.
They did get this cute little twink to host it, apparently to appeal to a younger demographic. It didn't work. As the other way that HQX was different from what came before was that there was no cash prizes. As a result, barely anyone tuned in. Which in retrospect, HQ should probably be thankful for, because if the internet were watching this photo assignment game, they would have received enough dick pics to turn the HQ servers into a digital glory hole. By early 2019, HQ was scraping the bottom of its venture capital bucket, and so the company had no choice but to betray its entire concept. They had the gall to introduce a subscription model, which would have users pay $10 a month just to play HQ Words, which wasn't even popular to begin with. And, naturally, they introduced microtransactions, giving users the ability to erase wrong answers or buy extra lives. You might ask what the difference is between buying extra lives and erasing one of your wrong answers. And, yeah, you'd be right to do that. There wasn't one. No one was going to pay money to win money, especially after they had gotten used to getting it for free. While they were taking in a small amount of money this way, the app's numbers plummeted, leaving staff flailing and demoralized. Especially after April 2019, when their beloved Quiz Daddy went out for a pack of smokes and never came back. Scott jumped from the bow of HQ's sinking ship for a baseball talk show called Change Up, which was cancelled a year later. But if you've still got some Quiz Daddy issues to work out, you can still catch Scott on his YouTube channel, where he makes weird HQ-based satire pieces directed at Bill de Blasio.
Oh, hello, it is your host in the command post, Queen Antifa, Captain ACAB, defund the police Simpson, aka the original Quiz Daddy, Scott Rogowski.
Yeesh. After Scott left, the staff scrambled to keep the company alive, but it was all in vain. By Valentine's Day 2020, it was all over. Russ announced that the company was kaput on Twitter, but he wasn't going down without a fight. He assembled two of his remaining hosts for one last broadcast, and it was unlike any that came before. In fact, it was beautiful.
Hit him with the shoulder! We don't care anymore, right, Anna? Man, fuck your hair is the last show ever.
If you hadn't guessed already, the hosts were loaded with more booze than the guests at a Russian funeral.
You know, we laughed because we had alcohol, but I'm crying on the inside because...
My tears. The inside of my body is so moist right now. Let's do a gift dorp.
Gift dorp. And the soused shenanigans didn't end with mispronunciations, with the hosts actually berating Russ to his off-screen face.
Russ is an AI personality for a viral marketing campaign we created. It's an acronym for real, unsuspecting
shit.
And this was all because Russ didn't want them opening the bottle of champagne he'd saved for the 3 million users milestone. And in a perfect visual metaphor for the fortunes of the entire company, when Matt does open the bottle, the screen freezes and we don't get to see it.
My coat!
My iPad!
HQ went out not with a bang, but with an off-screen whimper. And with some pretty uncomfortable sexual tension.
They're not even playing. None of you are even playing. You're here because you're the real HQ fans, or you just want to see if Matt and I blow up, which could happen.
We're gonna blow each other
up.
And that was the end of HQ Trivia. For about a month, in March 2020, Russ announced that HQ was coming back from the dead, like some kind of trivia-spewing Christ. It had been acquired by a mystery investor who wanted the app back on screens as quickly as possible. There's no Quiz Daddy, but Matt Richards is back and he's outrageous as ever.
Get out of here, 2020! Can't you say we don't want you anymore?
And it's still glitchy as all fuck.
All right. Again, 14,829 of y'all still in it to win it. We got question 10 coming up in under a minute. It's coming. Eventually, you know.
They're still getting celebrity cameos. They're not as good, but they did secure that bitch Carol Baskins. They're still asking for money, but don't worry, they're not keeping it all. Some of it's going to charity, apparently.
I'm talking about Snap, a non-profit agency improving and enhancing the lives of older adults in Queens, New York.
It's uncertain how long they'll squeeze more broadcasts out of HQ's bloated corpse. But for now, it lives on. Thanks for watching, everyone. You may have noticed that in the last few weeks, the channel has exploded like one of those beach whales that people poke on the beach and it goes all like, pff, but like in a good way. I can't believe it. It's been amazing and I owe it all to you guys, all of you who've subscribed, liked, and especially my patrons who have been supporting me all this time. I can't believe it, and if I could just be sincere for a second, I just want to say thank you. And I'll see you next time, because now that the channel is getting bigger, I can afford to do some weirder and wilder shit, so I hope you are all still up for that. I don't know what else to say, so bye, stay hydrated, and don't let the bastards grind you down. Oh yeah, and I was on my knees this whole time. Twist!